Hey everyone, a new report just came out from the Visual Effects Society Technology Committee on the Studio Platform Survey Report, talking about the general studio platforms, both operating systems and a little bit about storage and render. It's a survey of all the biggest studios. It's led by Nick Cannon and a bunch of other folks from Disney ILM and the other big studios. So the largest studios participated. Let's take a look at the report. Hey, don't forget to subscribe, and if you like this video, it gets on more people's feeds, so I appreciate your help. Let's take a look at this report. This report was done on a survey of 88 studios that replied back. These are some of the largest studios. Again, this was run by some of the folks from the largest studios, so that helped with participation. They've got a lot of quotes inside the survey from the various studios with talking about various challenges they've had with adopting various operating systems. The main focus of this ends up being on the operating system choices. There's a lot of controversy and problems around the implementation of Linux inside the visual effects and animation studios. As this survey validates, the largest studios generally rely mostly or heavily on Linux, with a lot of the smaller studios still relying on Windows. Both Windows and Linux each bring incredible strengths that the others lack. And so this talks a little bit about the push and pull, but of course some of the other meat is it goes through some actual numbers of how big are the render farms across some of the studios, how big is some of the storage footprints across the studios, a little hints about how much cloud adoption or using operational expense farms like Studio Cloud are kind of helping people grow way beyond their normal footprints. We're seeing 100,000 plus farms now. Take a look at the survey. Feel free to scroll through. I'm going to put a link in the description, of course. It's also asked that you share this out. Get this survey out there. I'm hoping that when they do this survey the next time, that even more studios participate. There's a couple of take-home issues you can grab right away from here. One of them is a surprising large number of studios that could buy on a smaller amount of farms. I think there's a certain limit to how big a farm can really be. I mean, we're not going to start seeing million core, 2 million core, 3 million core farms for individual studios. There's at some point where the curve starts to top out, we'll start to see more rendering in GPU and real-time rendering, taking some of that slack as these shows get bigger and better and badder. Like I mentioned, it goes a lot into the workstation operating system. There's a big change in CentOS. I'm not going to go through and talk about it entirely. Really, I recommend everyone reads the report, so I'm not going to go through this verbatim, but you will see that the majority of workstations out there, of those 59,000 workstations, which is 59,000 artists working, there's 60% Linux is what you're seeing out there. And if there's one piece of advice that I would give to every single artist or anyone in the visual effects industry, even if you want to be in production, is you need to learn a little bit of Linux. And I mean just a little bit. I will say that I don't just mean clicking around the operating system, but actually learning a little bit about command line. I'll encourage you to just look anywhere on the internet to how you can take a program called UNetbootin, and you can just throw on any old Linux operating system onto just a USB drive, and that way you can just boot your laptop into Linux. That's a real simple way where you can, a very just exploratory way, see what a Linux operating feels like, and then you can just boot your machine back to your hard drive when you're done. It's a real common practice out there. You can also install a virtual machine for free and run a little Linux machine on your Windows or Mac computer. Whatever it takes, just make sure that you, at some point or another, know how to open a file, close a file, and save a file, maybe move a file in Linux before you enter a visual effects and animation studio. It will always help you in one way or another. The survey itself goes very deep into the various flavors of Linux that the studios are using. So if you have a particular interest in how you're going to build out your studio and what sort of flavors are out there being used, this will give you a great guide as to what the industry is already using and what the industry is moving towards. With studios adopting Linux on their desktops, this survey also goes into some of the complications that come with that. So as more desktops move to Linux, this causes some contention and problems because not all software packages that are used in visual effects are Linux friendly. In fact, there's some large packages which are detailed in here. I don't need to go into those names. They're clearly not Linux friendly, and this forces studios to always maintain a Linux Windows environment, and that adds a lot of complications. So like I said, they took a lot of verbatim comments from the survey and put them right into this report, so you can read exactly what the studios are saying. If you have any interest in pipeline, in studio technology, and being on the pipeline or IT side of things, perhaps you want to be a more technical artist, then give this one a quick read, understand what the studios are up against. I'm always trying to give context to the few different areas of a studio: the technology team, the production team, the artist community, what the others are dealing with in challenges. This is one of those documents where all the elements of VFX and animation should probably read this. Even if it's not their primary focus, they'll have a better understanding of what the studios are up against and what your IT and technology teams are battling against behind the scenes. If there's one thing I love about the visual effects and animation industry, is its ability to act in an almost academic way when it comes to sharing information and making sure that every bit of information that is shareable amongst the studios is shared. It's this type of academic sharing and this type of approach that the visual effects and animation companies take to doing business that really lends itself to the advances that you get to see every day on your television and movie screens. These are the folks that are doing it, and they're working together to bring you the coolest, most amazing visuals you could even imagine. Don't forget to download it. The link is in the description. Thanks for staying to the end, and I'm going to have more videos coming very soon, I promise. We want to get this report out as far and wide as we can, so share this on social media. Thanks for watching.